All right, welcome back everyone to Aiden's World of Sports. And today I got another guest, another basketball player. That's two in a row. So today I have Luke Hunger from Montreal, Canada. Take a second to talk about yourself and introduce yourself.
Luke Hunger from Montreal originally. Actually grew up playing hockey up until my ninth grade year, then decided to go to the US and take a stab at basketball and, you know, greatest decision of my life.
Yeah, I mean, you talk about that. You grew up playing hockey, and when did you really think that? I didn't know you played hockey, but you just mentioned that, so I have a question about that. When did you realize that maybe hockey wasn't the sport for you, like in a professional manner? Like,
Yeah. So, I mean, as a Canadian, you're pretty much born into hockey. I played hockey. It's been longer. I played like 13 years of hockey. Um, and I was always like pretty good for my age. Um, but then I kind of, switched schools or switched programs within my school to kind of try and like, I always loved basketball. My dad was a ball player and I wanted to like kind of explore it a little more. And I kind of was like balancing it, and then I kind of realized like, oh, maybe like hockey isn't for me. I was starting to like not like it as much, and then I just decided, you know what, let's go for it. Let's just play basketball full time.
well, yeah, you definitely have the size for it. 6'10" power forward. So, what do you see? Where do you take what do you take from the NBA today? What players do you model your game after?
Yeah, I definitely watch a lot of Nikola Jokic. He's just someone that's revolutionary in terms of like bigs. Like he just sees the floor in a different way. His passes, his vision, how he shoots the ball. I mean, I'll never have his little like 1 foot hop step backs that he does, which are incredible. But a guy like that who just revolutionizes how bigs play. And I used to watch a lot of Kevin Love back when he was like in his heyday. He was really, really good. Just a big rebounder, shooter, stretch four type of player that I'm trying to be like.
Yeah, and you talk about really how the game has evolved, and so talk about that. What do you think? Have you? Well, you didn't really play when the big men weren't really shooting threes, but how do you feel about big men shooting threes and being a stretch four?
Yeah, well, I think the future of the game, everyone's going to have to shoot. I think kids growing up, I don't think there's going to be a lot of future players that are not going to be able to shoot because I feel like that's becoming such a staple of like if you can't shoot the three, you're a liability on the court. So I think like it's just going to be automatically programmed into the younger generation that if you could shoot, that equals you're going to get on the court. So even to the bigs, like you see now, like the top prospect bigs, there's not rarely they can't shoot. It's all like the unicorns. So that's kind of I see like everyone just starting to be able to shoot and just do everything on the floor.
Yeah, and that's important. And so let's talk a little bit about your process to committing to Northwestern. You had a lot of offers. I think I couldn't count for I saw the Instagram story. I couldn't count. I think it was something like around like 18. Am I mistaken?
It was yeah, some around that.
So what did you make a top five, or did you just think that, at the end your decision was you commit to Northwestern, you didn't really announce anything else?
So yeah, my process. So I kind of made like an unofficial top five. So I just played out through the summer, and then I waited until the school season started, and then I kind of like narrowed it down a little bit to where I want to take my visits to. So I kind of narrowed it down to a list of 5 to 6. So I took my first visit to Miami. Um, I loved it there. It was great, but it was just I wanted to look at more schools, and then I took another visit to Harvard. And then after that is when I got my offer from Northwestern. So I decided to go visit Northwestern soon, like after. And then I visited Richmond. So my top four, and then I was also considering Boston College because it was like kind of the local school here. Um, but yeah, I fell in love with Northwestern. It's just exactly what I was looking for. It was, a top 10 school in the country. They play in the Big Ten. It was kind of always like my dream school listed when I went before I even had any offers. It was kind of always like one of those programs that I really, really wanted to go to.
Yeah, and talk a little bit about that. Like, talk a little bit about how you built your relationship up with that coach, because obviously it takes a lot. And if you're saying they offered you after you started visiting schools, that's a quick time to really roll over and think, wow, I really want to go here. So what was that like? How's your relationship with coach?
Yeah. So, I mean, They have seen me play during the summer. I saw them at a couple of our games and a couple of games on my Peach Jam. So I already know that they were a little bit interested. But at that point, I kind of like, as soon as I got the offer, I was already like, it didn't really need to. The coaches didn't really need to do too much recruiting. I guess you could say that because like it was already like, it was the obvious choice for me. It was I just couldn't go anywhere else. It was great. I mean, I love the coaching staff. They're great people. That's part of the reason why I decided to commit to the school. But I think I committed to the school just as much as I committed to the basketball program.
Yeah, and that's something that's really important. So I want to, what do you see your role there being, even starting next year? Do you see yourself maybe redshirting and trying to go for, maybe that extra year of eligibility to progress in with your teammates next year? And or are you trying to go off the bat and,
Oh,
one and
I'm trying to
done?
go off that. I picked Northwestern also because there's an opportunity to earn some minutes my first year there. They have a few guys maybe leaving, a few guys staying, but no, I'm coming in there to earn my time, earn my minutes, and that's the plan. I'm not thinking about redshirting or anything like that. I just want to go in and do the best I can and hopefully earn a spot in the rotation.
Yeah, that's really important. I understand that for sure. So you're looking at that now. What is a goal that you have, or is your season done this year? Have you guys finished up? I know.
So we actually had a playoff game yesterday for the quarterfinals against Vermont. We beat them. So we have our semis for the NEPSAC playoffs. We have our semis and finals this weekend. And then we have the national tournament, which is starts March 8th, and then March 8th to March 11th. And then after that, our season will be over.
So what is that goal that you have in mind right now? Is that you think winning nationals is that goal that you guys
Oh,
can
winning
get?
New England's and winning nationals. That's the only thing that's on my mind right now. Is I'm locked in and ready to get 2 championships.
And what do you think that you as an individual have to do to get that? What do you think you have to do? Is it more taking a role back and leading your team vocally and, letting guys step up and play as a team? Or do you think you have to take that load and carry it on your shoulders if you're the one that's, going to be able to do that?
I just think we have to play like we've been playing all year. Stick to the game plan. I mean, we prepare extremely well for games. We scout the team really well. I think we all play really, really well as a team. And if we continue to do what we always do, that hopefully, and I think we'll win. I just don't think there's people who can hang with us anywhere in the country. We play such like an unselfish style of basketball. We share it, it flows. It's just there's not someone who's gonna have like 40 points every night. It's always different people. Everyone eats is something we like to say.
Yeah, and so you're talking about how your team is like a brotherhood. And do you have any of those teammates that you're with right now committing to Northwestern with you, or anyone moving on with you to that school to continue that brotherhood?
Well, yeah, I'm sure you've heard of Rowan was supposed to come join us, but I mean he decided to go to Texas, and I'm super happy for him. The decision for him, and for that was the only like kind of connection to Northwestern. There's been 2 other Northwestern. There's a guy at Northwestern now, Ryan Greer, who played at NMH in the past, and there's also been another player in Aaron Falzone who played also at NMH in the past.
Yeah, so you know some guys there on the team already. That's for sure that's definitely got something to do with you committing there, along with all the other factors. So that's awesome. So now I had my really like serious questions. I like to ask everyone a few fun questions. So my first one is, if you have the opportunity to stand there on draft night, Adam Silver calls your name up, or whoever the commissioner is at that time, what team and what cap do you want to be putting on above all the rest?
Ooh, that's a tough one. I think I'm gonna have to go for my Canadian Toronto Raptors. It's hard to support a team from Toronto being from Montreal, hence the hockey rivalry that there's always been. But I think I gotta rep the home country. I'd say the Toronto Raptors.
Yeah, I mean, hey, I didn't expect a different answer. Honestly, I thought one
It would
can.
it would have been the Portland Trailblazers if they had not fired Coach Stotts. My dad is very good friends with Terry Stotts, the former Trailblazers head coach. So we were huge Trailblazers fans our whole lives, but unfortunately that has passed. So gonna have to go with my Raptors.
All right. Well, good calling out. If Coach Stotts happens to see
Hey,
this,
eight playoffs in a row. That's all I gotta say. They fired him
hey,
after
I know. Hey, if Coach Stotts happens to see this, tell him to DM me or whatever. Get
that.
him on here. He could talk about
Yeah.
the he could talk about the Trailblazers all he wants. I'm open to any drama. um, now for my second question, it's a fun question. You got before a big game in the locker room, you're playing a song on the speaker. Your teammates give you the choice of song or artist or whatever. What are you playing to hype them up or clear your minds for that game?
Good. You can't go wrong with some Drake classics like uh Nonstop or like some of those like songs that get you super, super amped. I personal favorite artist to listen to before is J. Cole. J. Cole just gets me in the zone. Um, yeah, just like honestly, my game day mood really depends on the day. It switches up, honestly. I got a big playlist, and whatever I'm feeling that day is what I'm going to listen to.
A good answer. I mean, I haven't heard Drake yet. I've heard some J. Cole. I heard a lot of 21 Savage, NBA YoungBoy, Kodak Black, but that's a good different answer. I don't hear I hear a lot of like other rappers, but not many
Oh
no
yeah,
Drake. Now for this
Canadian.
last, hey, yeah, it's a good answer. Hey, Drake's one of the best. Drake's one of
Oh
the
yeah.
best in the game. Now for my next question, I have after a big game, you guys win, you're celebrating, you have the call on where to go to eat or what kind of food. What are you picking?
Mm. Chipotle or Chick-fil-A? Two favorites.
Oh, I love
Chipotle
that
or
answer.
Chick-fil-A?
I think all the basketball players have said all the basketball players are going to say Chipotle. Yesterday, I had
Wrong.
Isaiah Manning on. I don't know if you've heard of him. He's a recruit right now for class of 23. He's in Texas though, so he said Chipotle. I was hyped
Yeah.
about that, and a lot of the
Sleeper, I'll say a sleeper is Panera. Panera has gotten me lately. They have this like teriyaki broccoli rice bowl, which tastes amazing, and they have like this flatbread pizza. The guys on the team will tell you it's been good. We stopped there probably like 3 times after games. It's been good.
yeah. I mean, hey, Chipotle is a good answer. It's a personal favorite for me coming from New York, but
Yeah.
yeah, Chick-fil-A is good too. I've got Chick-fil-A from all the football guys,
But yeah. No
Chipotle from
Sundays
all the
though, which is the
basketball
killer.
guys.
No
Yeah,
Sundays.
no Sundays, but hey, they'll get to the NFL and then realize that.
Exactly.
And
Exactly.
then I've gotten Buffalo Wild Wings from almost everyone.
Mm. Can't go wrong with that either.
Yeah. So now I know, I got to ask the basketball players some NBA questions. I'm going to ask the same ones I asked my friend yesterday who came on, Isaiah Manning. I'm going to ask you your first thoughts on the Harden trade to Philly.
I think it's good. I think he needed to get out of there. It's kind of a win-win for both teams because Harden didn't want to be there and Simmons didn't want to be in Philly either. I'm interested to see how they play in the playoffs and how the whole team clicks together. But I think if the Nets still both teams need to click, but I think it's good for both sides. You can't really go wrong with Ben Simmons or James Harden. So those are my thoughts on it.
All right. Yeah, I agree. I agree. As a Knicks fan, I didn't want Harden in the division, but I was hoping
Yeah.
he went back to Houston. But
Knicks
I
fan,
mean,
you're not doing too well, huh?
I was like, oh, he might go back to Houston, get him there. But that didn't happen. Embiid's only gonna get better, so we'll see.
Oh, yeah,
Now,
crazy right now.
my next question is: do you think the Warriors are that team to beat in the Western Conference?
I think they are. I have always been a Warriors fan. I think the way they play the game is beautiful. I think especially once they get back into their rhythm, they've been one of the greatest teams so far in our generation. They've won chips. I think they have maybe like 2 years left, 2 years maybe with their full lineup. But I think they're definitely, they have experience, they have depth, they have young talent. They have everything to win a championship for sure.
All right, you're going 2 for 2 so far. And my last question for you: who do you have? You have Embiid, Jokic, or someone else completely?
Oof.
MVP.
Ugh. I don't know, man. I'll give a shout out to DeMar DeRozan, who's balling this year. I don't think he'll win it, but I don't know. It's a tough one. Honestly, I don't even know if I can answer. There's just so many players who are just balling this year. It could be anyone. I don't even have an answer that I think would be correct.
Yeah, I mean, uh, I,
Who do you think?
you see, I know Jokic technically puts up better stats, but
Yeah.
Embiid has been the more valuable player to his team, putting up like he's been more consistent. I think Jokic has had his more bad games than Embiid, and Embiid's been on a tear lately. And I think
Uh-huh.
if I had to give it to someone right now, if the season ended today, I would give it to Embiid, but Jokic
That's
could still win it. Ja Morant's my top four for
Ja
me.
Morant. He has been cooking.
LeBron's fifth behind DeRozan.
Yeah.
I don't even know. It could
It's
really
crazy. There's so much going on.
yeah. This year's been awesome. And now I want to ask you a Blazers centered question.
Uh-huh.
Do you think it's time for the Blazers to move on from Damian Lillard? Do you think he's been too loyal and you want to just see him get a ring, or do you want him to play out, or do you think he should play it out?
Uh, I think, well, as someone who's respected Damian Lillard forever, I think I love how he goes with staying with the same team. I think he should, if that's his mentality and that's his philosophy, I don't see why he would leave. His whole thing is staying with the team. Like, they've already moved on with CJ in a rebuild. Again, when you get rid of the coach, that's what happens. But no, I'm kidding. But no, I think he still has definitely a lot of years left where he can be an all-star and a MVP like front runner. They just have to get the right pieces around him. I think they've been trying to, but they were just always missing that. Like, they're always missing that small forward that they like, defensive-minded small forward when they were making their runs.
Yeah, I mean, I've watched a lot of the Blazers games because my second favorite team is the Warriors, so they face off a lot in the playoffs, and I've seen the Blazers lose a lot in the playoffs.
Yeah, of course.
But
Yeah,
Dave does his thing, and I think if they can't win with him on the roster, I think if it comes like that in the next 2 or 3 years, it might be time for them to just move on
could be
and
when his value's
go
high.
young.
Yeah, it
And
depends what they're gonna do. They
yeah, I
just
mean, I
fired
know he
their
wants to stay
president.
there, but like if you want to trade him now and get something back for him, might as well instead of having him sign with someone else in 3 years.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think they just fired their president too at the start of the year, something like that.
Well, they should fire their interim president too because they got fleeced at the deadline.
Yeah, they did. Oh my God, they gave up. And they gave up Gary Trent. They gave up Norman Powell. They gave up all these studs.
Yeah, Gary Trent. I don't know why they gave him up. He would have been great once Dame got injured.
And Norman Powell too, who was averaging like 18, and he
Oh
went
yeah,
to the
he's awesome on the Clippers.
yeah.
He's single-handedly keeping the Clippers team in the playoff race.
He's crazy. Yeah, they definitely could have drafted Kevin Durant. They chose Greg Oden.
I can't. Yeah, I mean, in hindsight, I can blame them, but then it was a
can.
give or take.
And they could have drafted Michael Jordan.
Len by, yeah,
That's that's just what it is. But yeah.
yeah. So I'm not gonna take up more of your time. I know, everyone's busy. I know. I got some stuff to do.
we
You
got
some stuff to do.
midterm. It's midterm week for us. We got a couple midterms tomorrow.
All right, I'm gonna let you go. I'm gonna let you go study.
Nah,
Nah, I know.
I'm great.
You're good. Thank you so much for coming on. I appreciate you, and I'll definitely have you on again. I know
Oh,
people are gonna
thank you
want
for
it.
having me.
Of
Thank you.
course, man. Got to stay in touch for sure. Thank you so much. I'm gonna get this out for you real soon.
Perfect. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much.